there, for a while. Mike used to do that. One of us would get a sort of an idea going, and he'd say, "I don't want to do," and he'd like deliberately not get involved. But even that was based on trust, to be able to do that.
I noticed that in Birdman actually a lot, where you guys you seem to be, there's some bit of an improvisation there, right? And
that's much more of a controlled situation, because that was with overdubbing and all that sort of thing. But I think Rick's referring to the live, live shows.
What's that organ that goes, deep, 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 long ago in London?
It's just a Hammond.
With like the drawbars pull out in a funny way?
Yeah, it's just like it was a small Hammond. It wasn't a B3. I think it was just like one of the spinet type.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cute sound.
There's quick changes of subject. Yeah.
Yeah, money's worth.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware that 1998 a movie called Buffalo 66 came out, and in that movie,
yeah, I know the guy.
that's what I said. They used the song Moonchild.
Vincent Gallows.
Yes.
Friend of mine.
You guys, did you have to give permission for that and
He did.
to do that?
Yeah, you had to get permission. In fact, I helped him to get the permission, because we were coming up against the release date, and people of discipline hadn't really responded, and I had to put in a few calls. But I thought it was a great use of that tune.
Yeah, it's a strange part of the movie too.
But then if anyone hasn't seen it,
it's a great movie.
Go tap dancing in a bowling alley to Moonchild. It's like really cool.
Slow motion.
Later on in the mid-70s, you got involved with the Irish band Fruit, and you did some work on their last album, and you played on Gormenghast.
Well, I produced the album.
You produced the album. How did you get linked up with them?
Well, I can't remember. They probably came to me. I'd done a couple of production jobs on Darrell Way's Wolf. I forget the chronology, but I think I'd done Darrell Way before then, and yeah, I did produce a whole album and played on that. That was difficult, because they had the guitars, they didn't have very good guitars, and they were almost impossible to intonate and get a tune, and the management or whoever was just spending so much more money on studio time trying to get these things in tune, and I just said, why don't you just buy new guitars? It's so much cheaper, but they somehow didn't get the logic of that, and so we had. But it was very, very difficult. But there's some nice things on there. And Gormenghast is some nice.
Modern Masquerades. It's a great album. Yeah. Did you play on Gormenghast? John Mason is the keyboardist.
Yeah, I think I played saxophone on that. Oh no, I didn't play the piano.
It's a wonderful song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the Fire Valley album, you produced that. I don't recall if you played on that or not.
I'm sure I usually play
something.
Put my little, my cameo appearance, on anything that I produce. But yeah, got some saxophone, I believe, on that.
You just basically continue that through the 80s as well? Just like session work?
Not really. I'm not really a session. I mean, I do session work, but it's usually sort of as a guest or something. Right. Because I'm not one of these sort of chameleon type of session guys who can sort of basically do anything, but you don't really know who it is necessarily playing. Right. I'm usually asked to play it because of my, my style, sound, personality, or lack thereof. And but I do, I'll if anyone asks me to play on a record, I'll do it. But, I don't do straight session work.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, and how do you feel about your work with Hackett, the tours you've been doing? You usually play a few Crimson songs in those Japanese shows. Have they come off according to your expectations? Are you pretty happy with them?
Pretty much so, yeah.
I talked to the Win, and I guess in the court, you guys.
Yeah, there's always, in a live situation, there's always,
Is there a Mellotron on those tours, or is that a sample?
It's not. It's a Corgo 1W, which has a setting called Your String, I believe it is, and it's not a bad representation of a Mellotron. It actually, you can actually get away with it in the live situation.
Well, I notice I have the
Are you
video.
familiar with that setting on that keyboard?
Not particularly. I know it sounds.
Yeah,
It's okay.
it's actually not bad. It's sort of,
One of the things I did notice is that as opposed to playing, like on those tapes, you're only playing one note, right? With your, like the lead sound for the Cruising King, whereas on a regular Mellotron you would have to do two. Am I right in saying that, or am I wrong? I don't. There's at least when I recall in the videotape when you're doing the intro. I think I'm recalling you playing
well,
this
we
with
had
your
two,
right
two
hand.
keyboards, but Julian
Callback
Colbeck, in
is
that
doing
particular
all
situation, we had two keyboards, and I usually just do a chordal version of it, rather than just playing. The only time I do the single line is during the solo section, the Mellotron solo.
Okay, yeah.
So during the choruses, because I'm actually singing the top line usually as well,
Yeah.
I just play the chords. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
What was the intro on that would have been on Driver's Eyes?
well, my idea for that was to try and reunite the band, sort of in
Like
some.
across there, Greg and Robert.
I crossed it out because I just basically the plan changed as I went on. I just wrote a different intro, but I was going to try and get samples of the guys doing, playing different things, and then put them all together. So in fact, would have reunited the band sort of surreptitiously.
Evil
Pretty
genius
clever,
behind them.
But I changed that idea. Robert ended up not playing on it, but
Businessman he is.
Well, how did they get the Eagles back together? So they walked around on somebody's music video or something? Does anybody remember
Eagles?
that?
The
Yeah,
Eagles?
They
They
were
gave
on
them a
somebody-
whole lot of money.
Yeah.
No, but they were on
Hell froze
somebody's-
over.
Yeah, that's right.
They were on somebody's music video, and they got the whole band, and they're walking around out in the desert or something, and I think they made, pretend they're singing or something, and then they had just gotten together socially and said, yeah, let's do this again, we can make a pile of money.
So there you go. Walk in the desert again. That's a good.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a prize for Robert Fripp. If someone put up enough money, this group would rejoin.
But you don't know about that actually.
You don't think so?
Well, if you go on the road, I'll loan you my Mellotron, I'll even maintain it, and I won't charge you.
You'll have at least 20 people there, I think. People in this room.
I think you have more Mellotrons than you can shake a stick.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, I just don't know if you'd ever get Robert and Greg to be on the same stage at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the real key.
Ian, and you're going to release, or Sid Smith is putting a book out in November. Are there going to be some surprises there about the early Kingdoms?
I'm looking forward to that because I'm sure I'm going to be surprised by, because obviously we all did interviews separately, and it'll be very, very interesting to see what person A has to say about person B about person C. So it'll be. I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty good book because Sid has been very gone into a lot of depth, and he's interviewed.
It's like 500 pages or something.
Everybody.
I think his publishers are trying to
they're
make
trying
it
to-
not 500 pages.
Yeah, but
because
it's supposed to be
trying to cut it back
photos,
quite a bit.
yeah.
Because
I had it edited.
Oh, yeah.
30,000 words or something.
yeah,
Take
that's
out.
right. Yeah, he had a whole pile of
But,
stuff taken.
I think there's going to be a lot of photos, a lot of memorabilia printed up in it, and I hope it's good. Because it's like it's the only shot really with
Sure.
getting a really a good book on the subject, and it should be. I hope it's good. Let's hope it's good.
My wife and I were watching an interview with Robert Fripp one time, and his choice of words was like more like a university professor than anything else. My wife was asked, does he always talk like that? He doesn't, like with these strange analogies. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just wondering, is that something he does to endear his audience, or is he actually naturally like that?
He doesn't talk, period.
I think he does it. I'm not going to. That's a bit of a personal question. I mean, I think he does it to
be endearing.
to impress, to try and overpower and
Intimidate.
or whatever. But I don't really want to speak on it.
Right. I'm not really seeing it as a negative thing. It's just
Well,
it's interesting the way that it's just
It's
a
like,
choice
it's like
of words.
comment about anyone's personality is going to
Come back to
come
haunt
back
you.
at me. I know.
Yes, there's cameras everywhere.
He's a cerebral
These
guy.
on?
I think.
I think he likes to have people on a lot of times.
Yeah. Well, the thing, he puts up smoke screens and all this sort of thing. But